Hey, what's up everyone? How you doing? It's John. In this video, I'll be taking a closer look and a walkthrough of issue 56 of Nintendo Power. This is from 1994, January of 1994 more specifically. It is a bonus issue. You notice here it's got a really cool kind of silver cover. I don't know how well you can see it on the camera, but is it embossed? And it's got the Mega Man bonus issue. And you open it up, you get the cover. So very cool. And the back is just plain silver. So kind of unique Nintendo Power, kind of stood out to me for sure. So without any further ado, let's take a closer look at it. It's definitely going to, Mega Man X is going to be the main focus, which is obviously a great game. This is 1994, so this is kind of early Super Nintendo time frame, right? So a lot of great classics. Nintendo at this point, the NES, starting to die off a little bit, getting a little bit of support for the NES. Of course, you had the Game Boy in full swing and all that good stuff, but the main thing was obviously Nintendo, but you had some coverage for Game Boy, and there are some NES games as well being covered in this. So let's dive right into it, guys, and thanks for watching. Okay, guys, here's a closer look at volume 56 of Nintendo Power. This is January of 1994. I was 13 when this came out in the mail, and I got it, and I remember fondly it was a bonus issue. Usually issues came out once a month at the time. This is a bonus issue. So here's the cover. Same thing on the cover, it's just more silver, obviously. One thing I love about the Nintendo Power's classic ones are just the classic advertisements. You're enjoying it. The Super Power Club, definitely remember that. Absolutely growing up. Table contents, right? Big push on the Game Boy. Game Boy was super popular, the original one at the time in '94. Super Nintendo obviously was huge, so big push. Only game for NES at this point in this issue or this volume was Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers 2, which is a kind of a harder game to find. It was a later release. This is your mail-in area. People can send in artwork and all that, paint envelopes. Really great artwork. Always enjoy this section for sure, the Player's Pulse section. Mega Man X for Super Nintendo. Man, one of the best Mega Man platformers in my opinion. Created a whole sub-series of Mega Man games. Talks about different bosses and strategies. I love how Nintendo Power would take screenshots and kind of, puzzle it in a way where you can kind of see where you're going. I thought it was pretty brilliant. I always wondered how they do that, the screen capture back in the day, in the 90s. But very cool. Obviously, they had the tools to do that. All the different bosses and all that cool jazz. Complete guide of Mega Man X. Flashback for Super Nintendo. This was a follow-up to a game called Out of This World, which was named something else in Europe, I believe. But I love the graphics. This is one of those kind of platforming games, but the way you run, super one of those kind of exploration games. If you haven't played Flashback, it came out for a number of other consoles as well, not just Super Nintendo. But man, what a fun game. Great port for the Super Nintendo. Again, various different stages. And then Claymates. What a fun game this was too. I believe this was an exclusive for the Super Nintendo. This one is particularly, I believe, a platformer. This is back when they were doing the Clay Fighters and all that, right? And it was huge, the stop motion. A lot of fun though, for sure. Soldiers of Fortune, which is a top-down run and gun shooter. Really fun for the Super Nintendo. Different levels. Love these guides. This is pre-internet, right? Where internet was huge, where you can go online and look, see what the poster was, the centerfold, so to speak. The Rabbit Rampage for the Game Boy. Or no, I think it was for Super Nintendo, actually. I stand corrected. It was for Super Nintendo for sure. Love the centerfolds. Just like the Playboy centerfolds back in the day, right? Turtles Tournament Fighters. This came out for Super Nintendo. Also ported to the NES, which was a late release. All the games at this point in '94 were considered late releases for the NES and pretty valuable today. Much better port on the Super Nintendo, absolutely. But you can play as Raphael, Leonardo, all the original Turtles, of course, and different characters that you can play as well. You had this Wingnut, Armagon, yeah, this shark guy. It's like Street Fighter 2, but Turtles themed. Chrome Dome, I believe this came out maybe for the Genesis as well, Mega Drive. I think it did. It has all the hits and the combos and all that, right? So just like Street Fighter 2. Super Solitaire, can't say I've ever played this game for the Super Nintendo, but classified information. This was one of my favorite sections on Nintendo Power back in the day, where you had super secret codes. You could enter, right? Anything from Royal Rumble from WWF, which is now WWE, Final Fight 2. And Super Star Wars, Invincibility code. I didn't even know there was a code for Invincibility. That is really cool. So you have to hit this combination. I think that's really cool. I love the game Genie back in the day too. Mighty Final Fight, also a pretty expensive game for Nintendo NES nowadays, and it's a beat 'em up, very different than your typical Final Fight game by Capcom. Some more classified information, right? Aladdin for Super Nintendo. I always prefer the Aladdin for the Genesis, Mega Drive personally. That's a totally different one. Super Empire Strikes Back, also a great game, different codes. We can get the jump to different stages in the game. There was a Dagobah stage on this bigger game where there's like this monster to fight, and man, it's so freaking hard. I remember one Christmas, spending hours trying to beat the guy, and eventually did, but man, so hard. Cool mini comic here with Wario. Very cool. Games that never made it into America. So these were different games, I guess, that were never released in North America, which is a presidential game, which is interesting. That would never be released. Dragon Balls 2. It's always a page I'm missing. Here you go. Barcode Battle. That's kind of interesting, right? With the barcode reader. Very cool, the original Game Boy. I don't remember seeing that in the States, so that's interesting. Pachinko makes sense. Dragon Balls 2, Dragon Warrior 5. And this is, what is this section here? Let's take a look. Power Index. So we talked about different games, when they're released, different categories, right? Again, this is helpful because this is pre where internet was really popular. You can go and look to see what sports games were available for each system, what game, etc. when it came out, who produced it, who developed it. Member Special. Do you remember these? Like where you would 3D Magic Eye things where you'd cross your eyes and 3D image would pop out? That was super popular in the 90s. Surprised I see this. I don't remember seeing this in Nintendo Power, but it's here. That's very cool. I thought that was really cool technology. I always got a headache doing it too long, though, to be honest. Okay, here we go. Top titles of 93. Star Fox definitely has to take the top. Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Super Empire Strikes Back, Super Mario All-Stars. I remember that would be a big deal. What a great year. I mean, Mortal Kombat, Magic Quest, Mickey Mouse, Lost Vikings, also super fun. Tiny Toon, Secret of Mana, or Mana, however you want to pronounce it. Batman Returns. And these are the top games for Game Boy. So Link Awakening, of course, Mega Man 4, Darkwing Duck, Rampart, and Kirby's Pinball Land. And then for Nintendo, Mega Man 6, Awesome Mega Man. That's, I believe, the last Mega Man for the NES, of course. Battletoads and Double Dragon, Kirby's Adventure, classic Jurassic Park, and Yoshi's Cookie. Jurassic Park was another game that was different for every platform, which I definitely appreciated. Soundtracks, success, right? How you hook it up. You know, different sounds, speakers, getting in music mood. This is back when grunge was huge. Top tracks were Legend of Zelda, not surprising. Rock and Roll Racing, yeah, it's not a surprise either. Final Fantasy 2, I love Final Fantasy music. Awesome. Final Fantasy 2 is definitely up there in the top. Final Fantasy 3 was great, but I don't think Final Fantasy 3 was released at the point this was released. This particular volume came out. Here's some more Magic Eye stuff. That's crazy. I don't feel like getting headaches. I won't do it if I can't do it through camera video. Here is some previews of games coming up. NBA Jam, love it. Wario Land, King Griffey Jr. Baseball, Super Metroid. Man, this is the prime, right? NBA Jam preview. Man, NBA Jam in the arcades, taking it home. I know Tim Kitzrow, the voice of NBA Jam, is a good friend of mine. He's come out to Game On Expo, an event I run out in Phoenix. One of the nicest guys you will ever meet, honestly. Battletoads Double Dragon, you know, it was inevitable that these two would meet. Beat 'em ups, man, love the Battletoads. Here's a cartoon. More information about the game. Super hard. Every Battletoad game is super hard, but you gotta respect it. It's like called retro hard for sure. Batman, the animated series for the Game Boy. I love the series. Love the game as well. This is a really good game for the Sega CD, I must say. It's totally different, but platform. But yeah, super fun. Different enemies and different characters and all that good stuff. I really enjoy, on the side note, there's a new Batman Cape Crusader, I think, came out in Prime recently, which is kind of done in the same style and animation as Batman animated series. And I'll tell you, it's definitely worth checking out for sure. Turtles 3 Radical Rescue. This is the part of the Turtle trilogy for the Game Boy. Super fun. And yeah, it was by Konami, or who does it say who published this? I think it was Konami. They had another company they were using as well. But anyway, super fun platformer. Tetris 2, new Flash. You know, Tetris 2 didn't catch on as well as the first one, but still a fun Tetris game. Here's a lone NES game, right? Trippingtales Rescue Rangers 2. pretty hard. Not as hard to find as DuckTales 2, but super hard to find nonetheless today, based on the cartoon classic series. And Counselor's Corner, Showdown, Seventh Saga, all that good stuff. At the end, Link's Awakening, kind of different. How do you get here? Different tips and tricks. You can call at the time 800 number or 900 number. Yeah, it was an 800 number you call. They would charge you by the minute for help. Again, pre-internet. You do that now on the internet. You can watch people play through. Some different challenges, various challenges. You can defeat Reptile in hard mode level, right? For Mortal Kombat for Super Nintendo, for example. What's the all-time best score in Dr. Mario? How many yards rushing can you get in Techno Super Bowl? It's kind of fun. Off-road, super off-road. The Baja, which is different than super off-road, right? It was more of a third-person perspective, which is cool instead of top-down. And these are top 20 games, right? And this is Nestor. He was a character back in when Nintendo Power was around this time, obviously. Mortal Kombat takes the top spot. Super Mario 3 was top spot still for NES. Legend of Zelda is still up there, classic. Kirby's Adventure. I'm surprised Jurassic Park was top 5. That's interesting. I played the NES version, but not great, but not terrible. Now playing. These are games out now. When they're coming out, what type of game they are. While these are covering this issue. I miss these classic issues, man. I really do. Pack watched. I'd love to see Nintendo Power come back. You know, at least even if it's digital form. You know, pack watch update, all that good stuff. And then these are cool. These challenging cards. They came with 6, and then they're perforated, and you can collect them. Put in an album. There's an album you get. So this one came with Top Rank Tennis, Secret Mana, Mega Man. I believe it was random every issue. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but super cool concept. You can get them now on eBay, but they're pretty expensive if you want the whole collection. I'm not quite sure how many of these they release. What a fun idea they did there, for sure. Anyway, guys, this is cool. Stay cool. It's got the Super Nintendo on a block of ice. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Let me know what you guys think. We'll see you guys soon. Take care and have a great day. Bye.